Good afternoon. Welcome to this afternoon's session, Cloud Innovation in Higher Education. Got two presenters this afternoon. It's the Joe and Joe show. So we've got Joe Burkhart and Joanne Ruhl. So I've got a little bit about Joanne here. I'll have to make it up about Joe. But Joe's Vice President of Oracle Cloud Applications for the ANZ, responsible for leading the transformation of Oracle Applications business in ANZ to cloud, and charged, I love that word, with driving accelerated SaaS growth through clearly defined strategies, specialization, focused sales executions, thought leadership, as well as strong people development and change management. So I think we've got a lot to look forward to. So I'm not going to take up any more time. Enjoy.
Thank you, folks. Thanks for the introduction. I always love when someone else tells me what I do because it sounds way more exciting than when I do. So thanks for joining us today. I've been at a couple of conferences just before coming to this one, and I think listening to some of the topics today as well it's all around disruption and what's happening in the industry and how it's changing our focus. And I think the key thing for higher education as well is what you're looking at is it's that whole experience that people expect from technology now. You know, we're so used to picking up an app, a smartphone and quickly being able to figure out how to download apps, what to do with those. And it's intuitive, you don't need training. And I think that's the key challenge in many things. There's many others in higher education as well, but how do you actually give your students that experience? The experience they have in their everyday life to learn the way they live. And so what we're seeing is people want to have, instant. I want to go online, I want to look at courses, and we were discussing this, in 10 seconds I want to decide I like that one, I want to sign it up, I want to put it in the card, I want to pay for it. And if you can't do that, then you start looking elsewhere because it's all too hard. So it's all about being instantaneous, it's being data-driven, showing people not only what they have to buy, but what other people potentially, you signing up for this course, other people have done something similar. So it's that whole consumer behavior that we expect outside of industries driving the change we're seeing. And the only way you can really do that is if you look at cloud, because we've all, Joe and I can probably say we've been in the industry quite a while, so we're used to doing things on premise and it takes a long time to innovate, and once you have it, you never upgrade it, so we all know how this goes. So the only thing that allows us to address some of these fast-paced change is the platform that you put in place that allows you to innovate. And that's what we'd like to talk to you about today.
I'll do this one, yeah. So let me talk a little bit about just a history of Oracle in education in case you guys don't. So this is kind of the obligatory, what Oracle is and why we're focused on higher education. And I get that question a lot. Part of my job in Oracle is to keep Oracle focused on higher education, and a big part of my job is to come out and convince all of you that we're focused on higher education and why. So we've been in higher education since 1989, and probably if we actually dug back through our DNA, it's much longer than that. To the point now where we have over 11,000 technology customers, over 1,600 application customers, probably close to 500 cloud application customers, unique cloud application customers today in higher education. That number's a little harder because 3 months ago it was 350, but the rapid adoption of cloud components is getting tougher to track because we're signing them up so fast. So higher education has been part of our DNA for a long time, and it's very important to us. Another part of this, though, is how we actually interact with the community. So obviously we sponsor conferences like this, which is a big part of us going out and understanding what's going on, but we actually get deeply invested in different parts of this. If you take a look at this, organizations like PESC, which is a standards body, or IMS Global, which you may be familiar with. These are the organizations that actually set up data standards or data transfer and integration standards. IMS Global set up what's called the LIS standards, which is how you integrate to anything academic and bring it into anything else, between library systems, between LMSs. Right now they're working on a project called Caliper around the data analytics that needs to go into predictive analytics for student success. We actually have engineers and vice presidents that are leading those organizations, sitting in the room as they develop those standards. So we're actively engaged in what's actually driving technology in higher education. On the softer, gentler side of Oracle, a lot of people don't realize this, but education is actually our #1 philanthropic activity. We donate either through actual cash or services or software over $2 billion a year to education across all levels of education, from primary to secondary to higher education and on. We do that through a variety of means, as I said, either through volunteering, through actual cash donations, through providing software for you all to teach on. Also, some of our newer activities are actually focused heavily on STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math, where we're actually making investments in curriculum and content that we're delivering to schools for free to teach those kind of courses. To the point where, if you ever get a chance to visit our headquarters in Redwood Shores in California, we have a new high school on campus. It's a public high school. We just moved to STEM education school. When I was there 9 months ago, there was a big construction project. It's opening this fall. So we're actually investing heavily in that. If we go on with that, Oracle Academy, which is the same organization that you guys get courses to learn how to utilize our software and our technology, we're actually providing those courses now to schools to actually teach that curriculum with the actual certification process. And then finally, Oracle Labs, which is our pure research and development arm. This is where we're actually a sponsored program. We're actually sponsoring research. Right now we're sponsoring almost 100 research projects around the world through 97 different, I think it's 97 different colleges and universities. That's another moving target that I have a hard time keeping up with, that are actually contributing to research at universities around the world. And then finally, a big piece of why we think Oracle is important to higher education is the fact that when we look at the other vendors in this space, the fact that we've been around for almost 40 years equates to my gray hair. Most of the vendors in this space have only been around 4 or 5 years right now, or they've been around for a long time, but they're on their third private equity ownership, right? So if we really think about the long-term viability and security of the space, this is a big component of how we're invested and how we're a stable player within the education environment. You want to talk to this one?
Sure.
This is our logos.
Yeah, we thought part of the innovation that we're speaking to today is shared across a number of institutions. These are some of the companies in the US we work with, and I think the one on there, Stanford, is our design partner for our student cloud application. So we try and work in the real world as well, understanding what your challenges are, what you're trying to achieve, and then of course, more importantly, it's the local folks we work with. And there's a number of names on here that I'm sure you're all familiar with. So that's the key on how we can innovate. Now, what we wanted to discuss then today is what does this all mean? So we're looking at industry trends, we're looking at working with universities to understand your requirements, and then how do we take those and also look broader, because we work in a number of industries and there's often trends in other industries that are relevant here. And I know Joe will talk about that tomorrow, how you're seeing transformation happen. We believe at Oracle that we've probably got one of the best overall platforms to help with the challenges that you're facing in the higher education space. And when we say we've got a complete cloud suite, we were at dinner last night with someone from Catholic University, CIO of Catholic University, and he was saying, you can't just come in and tell us we have to rip it all out. And that's not our intention either. It's how we can actually provide you cloud applications that sit around your current investments to help you drive some of the innovation we're talking about. So what we had in the past, and this is the structure that systems usually had, is they had the institution at the core. And that's how we build functions out, and this is familiar for anybody who's been in this industry. But what we now need to look at that is change that to be student-focused and student-centric. And what you want then is you want to also look at all the things that people expect, like mobile first, right? We all want to be able to do things on our phones. That's nothing new. You want that consumer-like experience. You don't want to have to struggle to understand how anything works. If my 8-year-old son and Joe has twins that are 9, so there's something we share there other than just our names. If they can pick up an application, download it, and know how to play it without even looking at instructions, then no one wants to be able to struggle with what they need to do. Social listening, so how do we interact with students the way they live and work through the means that YouTube, Snapchat, all of these great things. We were discussing the fact that most people like to learn to do anything now on YouTube. So how do you address those needs? Immediate access, you need the analytics so you know what you're targeting, how you're targeting it. And this is where we believe we have a really strong solution. We call it our Higher Education Enterprise Cloud. And this is across all the functions. So So whether you're in administration or academics, the research or the information technology, we have solution components that can support those functions around student lifecycle management, human capital management, and then finance, budget planning, etc. And all on a framework that is cloud, that is modern, that's extensible, that's very secure.
Very secure.
Very secure. One of the things that I think we can say, hand on heart at Oracle, not that we can't other things, is that our history, where we come from, is based on being extremely secure, knowing how to treat data, and that should give people comfort, because I know that's always a concern when you're talking about cloud. Where's your data and how secure is it? And within that secure platform, that extensible platform, you've got all the things that are native to the applications. So you've got mobile first, you've got the analytics, you've got integration capability, and not just the ability to have all of those things, but extend on them. I think the great thing about the cloud, and I'm just thinking of an example that's not in higher education, Joe will probably have many more, but we work with Blackmore's, the vitamin people. I'm sure everybody knows who Blackmore's are. And they went from paper-based solutions to HR, so HCM in the cloud, core HDR, in 5 months across a number of countries, mobile, everything. And you think, I remember in the old days, I can say that, you could never do that. And that's the thing that cloud gives you now. It's the ability to pick a piece and say, this is the thing I need to transform, and do it very rapidly and show business benefit. It's not about the technology per se, it's what you can drive with that. And that's the key thing here. So one of the things with cloud, if you hear people talk about cloud, you might have a concern and say, well, we can't change it. You know, it's out of the box, and therefore everybody has to accept what's in there. And that's true to the extent that it allows you to do best practices, quickly get up and running, show benefit. But there's always the opportunity to extend. And this is another thing that we bring to the table at Oracle, is we call it platform as a service. And what that means is, it means you can extend the functionality you have using the same tools that we've built the applications on, which means they can be upgraded, they look and feel the same, they share the same security, but it gives you the ability to be flexible. And Joe and I were discussing this before this presentation, saying, when we're talking about disruption and the change of pace in the industry, it's not about finding a solution that addresses everything that might possibly be. You know, we can't, you know, where we stand now, and we were talking about what careers are going to be for my child who's 8. You know, I'm looking forward and thinking, what is he going to do when he's older? I mean, we can't say, right, because we don't know. So we can only provide you with a platform that allows you to innovate rapidly and adjust to these changes as they occur with the investment that we're making, that you can foresee as well. And I think that's the key thing here, is finding that platform that can grow with you and change with you at the pace that the world is changing. You want to add anything to that, Joe?
Well, I think when I talk to schools around the world, we're seeing, we were just talking about this a minute ago, so we had a lot of conversations over the last couple hours, but around the increased focus on recruitment right now. We've seen that for a long time in the States, but we're starting to see that heavily in parts of Asia Pacific and in parts of Europe. Schools that used to, just because of their brand and the fact that they've been around in Europe for 500 or 600 years, would always get their class, would always have those students coming. Now they're in a situation where they have to compete for students, because frankly, the students that are coming through high school right now may or may not actually attach a value to that brand anymore, because they see that in the consumer world all the time. So the real value of cloud computing, when we peel back the onion here, is freeing up your resources so that you can now innovate and differentiate. And that's not always things that we've always thought about in the past. Innovation driving into differentiation. And what we're really trying to do as we think about this is, how do you drive that differentiation across every single layer, across every single experience that your students or your faculty members are having with you? Because you're competing for faculty members. You're competing for primary investigators, right? And at the same time, how are you driving out costs so that you can then devote those resources to innovation, to research, to teaching and learning? And that's where it starts to create those challenges. One of the things that I think one of the big value props that we see now is the ability to, we used to talk about big bang applications, big bang projects, right? We're going to do HCM finance and student, roll it all out, it's going to take 5 years. We can now do those on manageable paths, but you can figure out what's your path. No two schools are going to follow the same path all the time, based upon what your value points are. And that creates both a challenge and an opportunity for you guys. So as we start thinking about, especially in this personalization area, what you need to do first, we will work with you very closely on trying to figure out what that first project is and what the second project is and what the third project is as you try to move through that. Sorry, I ran.
No, that's good. So for some of those that don't know, and I was talking to one of the organizers and they said when we said Oracle Cloud Partner, people said we didn't know Oracle had cloud. So we thought this was a great opportunity to also just show you these are real applications, they're working, they're implemented in a number of places around the world, and this is just a high-level screenshot of what that looks like. It's what you expect to see, and we'd like to, on that, invite you to come and have a look at our stand. We're at booth 15. We've got a host of team here who can actually show you through the applications. You can have a look and feel. And we'd also just at this point want to say, part of the investment that Joe's mentioned, so we've got a long history in higher education, and this is quite exciting for us in ANZ, is that Vivian Wong has just been appointed the Group VP of Higher Education Development for all of Oracle, and we just dropped straight to the bottom bullet. So she comes from Australia, so she knows this market, and that was for us a great sign of the focus that we'll be getting from the development team, not that we don't before, with people like Joe coming out and sharing their experience and inviting you guys to participate in talking to us and getting to know us and understanding, so we can understand your business and vice versa, see how we can help. So yes, this is us at booth 15. Not only can you see fantastic software, but there is coffee. So that's always a draw card, and not just to keep Joe awake who's flown in from the US. So please come on over, come say hi, talk to us. And then if you wanted even more information, Joe has got a presentation tomorrow, on the 9th, sorry, at 11:20, the 9th in the red room, same room. So we look forward to meeting you there. At this point, I think we've got 10 minutes or so. We're good? Excellent. So we've left lots of questions so that we can answer any questions you have. So please feel free to ask.